Not so much, but I find it I find it to be pretty interesting. Though.
I heard you. One last question. Your WWE Hulk Hogan wants to come back. Do you think it's ever happened?
I think after apology to all the existing African American talent, that he would be a real forgiving world.
I hear you on that. Thank you so much for your time. Great talking to you.
All right.
Enjoy your afternoon, dude. It's an honor.
Welcome to the Figure Four TV. Hit that like button. Now today we got Hall of Fame Mark Henry. He chimes in and reacts to Hulk Hogan being booed at the Netflix debut. So let's hear what he got to say. Also, guys, we'll be catching up with Booker T. So we'll see what he had to say also.
I thought it was unbelievable. I thought, what a spectacle. The support from Hollywood showing up. And all of the shows of people that are on Netflix or want to be on Netflix. I thought it was pretty damn special. The production was incredible. Like they added something to television that already existed, but just in a new home. And man, I outside of WrestleMania or the major PLEs and pay-per-views, that was probably the best show that I've seen on television since WrestleMania.
What does this mean for the industry? We've got Netflix, we've got Max. It seems like the whole industry is changing for the positive, right?
It is, and it's good for everybody. A rising tide raises all ships. I think that all Caribbean is going to benefit from the fact that what the WWE is doing is bringing everybody up for a good ride. It puts us in a good light, marketing and media wise across the board. People already respect pro wrestling, but now they see that pro wrestling is more than just sports entertainment. It's a way to sell. It's a way to get everybody involved.
One thing that stood out that people are talking about was the universe's reaction to Hulk Hogan. You surprised to see the Hulkster, one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, get booed a little bit in Los Angeles?
I mean, that's arguable. Anytime that you consider the Mount Rushmore in the top 10 of wrestling all time, Hogan is always going to be in that top 10.
Mark Henry, you normally a straight shooter. Don't lie now. It's not arguable. It's not arguing top 10. You mean top 2, top 1 and 2? It's not arguable. Hulk Hogan is the GOAT. He's the greatest wrestler of all times. Not an argument.
But right now, with the social climate and the things that he said and done and his lack of effort to try to fix it, people are going to come down on him. I never had an issue with him before I heard all of the stuff. And even then, I believe in giving second chances. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a fix-it person. I'm not going to dwell on the negative. I'm not going to talk about the past. We're going forward. And he never wanted to go forward and fix it. So, that's what happens when you think that everything is going to go away. It's not going to go away.
We've talked in the past about that and his history. Have you ever talked to him about it, or no? He's just kind of let it go away.
No, he thinks it's going to go away. That it's not going to be that dark cloud over his career. I have not said, I offered to say, hey, let's do a tour of the black colleges, law schools, and explain what happened. He didn't want to do that.
We live in sad times where a man just can't apologize and move forward. A man got to apologize, then he got to do all this other stuff, let people control him. But when people make mistakes, they want it to be forgotten about. They want people to forgive them, and they want to move on forward. It's sad stuff. We're in a sad land, guys.
Terry, I don't know how Hulk Hogan got my phone number.
I don't know either.
But Hulk Hogan called me and left a voicemail. Hey, this is Terry. Get this message. Call me back. And I'm like, Terry,
who in the hell is Terry? I looked at the area code, said Tampa. I don't know Terry. You know, he could have said it's Hulk Hogan.
I mean, yeah, you would think it's Hulk. Call me back.
It's Hulk. Yeah.
Because you don't know him.
No,
I mean,
I've met him before, but we never had a conversation.
Like, he probably had to get your number from somebody.
He got my number from somebody.
And then you had to sit there and do detective work.
I had to become.
You know any Terrys in Tampa?
I had to become Monk.
Tony Shalhoub trying to figure out who's Terry in Tampa.
My Jewish brother.
Well, what was he calling for? Just to tell you that was good?
To tell me that was the best mic work he had ever saw.
Dude, this is what I was hoping.
He said that I've never been got.
Whoa.
He said nobody never got me before. He said that was the only time in my life where I had hurt feelings that you were done.
Wow.
And watching you like just pour your heart out, he said it was like really cool. And then it became masterful once you turned on Cena. And listening to him, it was hard for me. I'm choking up when he was talking to me because I'm talking to Hulk Hogan and he's putting me over.
That was what I was going to ask you.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And to this day, like, that's one of the greatest conversations I've ever had with anybody. Not because he was putting me over, but because he was explaining to me the history of the business and all the stuff that he saw. And he said you couldn't see through it. He said his words, if anybody ever tell you that they saw through it, they full of shit.
Wow.
And let's talk about Booker T. You know what I mean? Booker T is on record of calling Hogan the N-word. And don't nobody talk about that. We forgive Booker T. White America forgives Booker T. But we going hard on Hogan for what? Let's get to that.
It's something people been wanting to hear. I mean, our text line's blowing up. Hey, Jerry, I want Jerry to play a clip before we even get into it. Jerry, play that clip for me real quick.
We take what we want, and after we take Lex Luger and the Giants, we want the gold sucker. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
Man, you know, that moment right there, back in WCW, that was the worst moment in my life at that point in time. I definitely want to stick my head in the sand and never come out. I thought.
Let me ask you this question.
Go.
I don't really remember during that time. Did it hit you right away, or was it later on where it turned into the worst day of your life? I don't remember.
Immediately, it was the worst day of my life. I cringed. I
wasn't aware of that. I'm sorry to hear that.
I cringed when I said it. I mean, I literally like chills went through my body, and I was like, "Oh God, what did I just say?" And the thing is, what's not ironic about it, that's a word that I used to use like on a regular basis, like every day, you know, in my neighborhood where I grew up, that it was common. It's just something that we said. But in the wrestling business, until that day, Hulk, none of my peers had ever heard me use that word, black guys or white guys. No one had ever heard me say that. My wife, literally the first time she saw me, and you know, for the first year or so, she was like, she didn't even think I listened to rap music because I was so straight laced. And when I said that, I was like, good God, man, I froze. I wanted to, like I say, I thought that was the end of my career. And my question is, why didn't you, be more ticked off about it? Why didn't you, lobby to go in and get me fired?
I didn't understand at that time what was going on. That's why I just asked you. I said, did this happen immediately? I mean, did this happen later on, a year or 6 months or 2 years later? Because I wasn't aware how intense it was, So honestly, I haven't ever gone into the lobby to get anybody fired. much less over that word, because whenever that was, what year was that again?
What?
Remember what year it was?
98 maybe?
I think a little, or 97.
97.
96,
yeah,
97.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember it being as sensitive as the politically correct environment now. So if it went down, I wasn't aware of it for years. If it did happen, and I was aware of it, it went in one ear and out the other because I was so used to hearing it. So I didn't know it was that intense back then. So, I wasn't aware to be anybody. Plus, I'm not one of those guys that would go in there and say fire one of the boys for no matter what they did. That's not who I am.
Well, I mean, I say that because, so many people, like you say, right now it's such an inflammatory thing. And I said it pretty much about you. And I do remember, and my brother and I, we talk about it all the time. You may not even remember because, like you say, it like went over your head. It really wasn't much. But to me, at that point in time, literally it was everything. And I remember seeing you in catering the following week. After it happened, and Randy Savage, he was there as well. And Randy goes, "Hey Hulk, what do you think about Booker calling you the N-word?" And you go, "Well, if I'm the N-word, I'm a good N-word." You know what I mean? That's what was said. And the thing is, until this conversation, we've never talked about it ever.
No,
it's never
we haven't.
it's never come up or anything like that. In all of these years, we've never said anything about it until this day right here. 4/22/19. If I need, you was labeled as a racist, okay? And the thing is, and I just want to put it out there. I think if you were a racist, that was a moment, that was an opportunity that a racist would have taken advantage of and say, "Man, I'm gonna get this ninja fired. He gonna work for me." You know what I mean? That's what I think a racist would have done. And then as well as me, I've been black for now 54 years, and I've been in a lot of racial situations. And I kind of like know the lay of the land. You could tell a racist by the people that he hang out with, his friends. That's how you tell a racist. Or you could tell a racist by the way a racist kids act. That's how you could tell a racist. You know immediately. How did you feel after your situation? Making a racist comment and then being labeled a racist. How did you feel about that? Because people make and I say that because people make comments all the time. Doesn't make them, it doesn't make them that.
You're saying words are one thing, actions are another.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is people can say a word or make a mistake, and that doesn't mean that's who they are. People that keep bringing it up and keep pushing it forward, those are the people I worry about. But for me, it was really a delayed reaction. That's kind of like why I asked you. I had used the word, and now it's going on almost 13 years ago. What's the date now? 19, almost 20?
Yeah.
19.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know what year it is anymore. So it was said in 2006. And I was made aware of it probably, when did the darn Gawker trial start? I was made aware of it probably, I don't know time very well, so I'm probably saying about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think longer than that.
Yeah.
6 years, maybe 5 years. So it was said in 2006, and then I was made aware of it about 5 years ago. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember that conversation, but that definitely was me, and I definitely said it. And total idiot, totally out of control, bad situation. There's a million excuses for it, but it was me. I said it, and I tried to be accountable for it. But the thing is, the people that know me, and it's really cool that you would say just because somebody says a word doesn't define them or doesn't mean who they are. Because the people that know me, the first person that called me when the publicity came out was my minister, Michael Beckwith. And he runs the Agape Church there in Culver City. He came to my house and married me and Jennifer, and he's one of my good friends, and he's Afro-American, So first thing that happened was my minister called me. He goes, "Terry, Have I heard we've got some problems? I explained to Michael what happened. And he goes, first off, God forgives you. And he says, whenever you have a small problem, tell your big God about your small problems. I said, Michael, I've already talked to him about it. And he goes, don't worry what people think about you. Worry what God thinks about you. And he gave me some really good uplifting advice. And, after that, there was a ton of support from all my friends. And the hardest part was trying to explain to people that didn't know me. And some people only knew me because of that. Oh, my God, we never heard of Hulk Hogan until we heard him say this crazy word and it was on the news. That was the hardest part, was trying to explain to people who didn't know me, who I really was. And it was so hard to and there's a lot of people now that, I've apologized to on several different levels and several times. And there's still some people that, the jury's still out. Some people are still tentative. And, I'm trying to, show them, like you guys were talking about, by my actions, who I really am. So it's been a really tough time, but a lot of people are very forgiving, and a lot of people that, are understanding, they've made some serious mistakes in their life too. And I think, normal people that have good hearts kind of understand that, if someone does make a mistake, you need to give them a second chance and see who they really are. So it's been a tough time, brother. I won't joke about it at all, but I'm just grateful now that my friends never left me, and the fans never left me, and the people that a few of the people or a lot of the people that don't know who I really am, I've had an opportunity to speak to many of them as I can and try to not make an excuse, but be accountable and say, yeah, it was me, I did it, but that's not who I am,
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, somebody had asked me, man, what would you do? How do you feel about it? I said, man, if people judge me for what I did, more than 20 years ago, aggravated robbery, if people still judge me, on that, they wouldn't know who I am at all, man. I mean, because that one day did not define who I am. It definitely did not. And I say that as far as as far as your friends and whatnot. I'm good friends with Knobs, Nasty Boy Knobs. Knobs used to talk about you all the time back in the day, man. I'm hanging out with Hogan, man. I'm on the boat this week, what I mean? We all kind of stories, man. I've heard all kind of great stories, and none of them were racist stories or anything like that. As well as Knobs and I, Knobs. I could say this, man. I can honestly say this. Knobs for years, Brian Knobs. He's the only white guy that I've ever given a pass to call me the N-word. I swear. No, I'm serious.
It's almost like every time I was around him, he was calling. I mean, good God.
What's crazy though, what's crazy is I was in Tokyo, Japan, Knobs and I, and we was in this bar. It was called the Rolling Stone, and Knobs and I, man, we stayed out till like 4:00 in the morning, man. We was just hammering them back, man. We had so much fun. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if I needed anybody to have my back, it would have been Knobs.
Oh, yeah.
That was the guy. That was the guy who would have had my back. No matter what went down, we would have went down together. I know that. I was just with him just this past weekend. So it's saying that Knobs, just this past weekend, Knobs going, hey, man, I love you, brother. I can't say that word anymore, though, but I love you, man. So even it's so political now, and everything is so, everybody's so uptight about everything. Everything is analyzed. Everybody got a comment. Like you say, a lot of people that, judge you never saw you, never knew you, never watched you. They was their first introduction, and people these days, they seem to hold on to everything. It's a different world that we live in today.
People that can't see change in them will never be able to see change in another person. That's why I say, guys, make sure before you escape your reality to watch this content and to watch wrestling, because we watch wrestling and that form of entertainment to escape our reality. Always be working on your reality, guys. All right? Let it go. It ain't our business. Just make sure we all right. Make sure we doing the right thing. All right, y'all. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see y'all later.